Chapter 17. The final fragment. The city was in ruins, its crumbled architecture serving as a testament to the war fought within. Kael stood at the edge of what had once been a bustling district, the remnants of broken structures and shattered glass scattered around him. The storm that had raged for so long had finally abated, and a strange stillness hung in the air, as if the world were holding its breath. The ground beneath his feet was soft, the once firm roads now cracked and fractured, the energy that had once pulsed through them now dissipated into nothingness. The winds were quiet now, no longer carrying the echoes of the past. The heart of the city was gone, but its damage lingered in the air, a lingering ache in the fabric of the simulation. Kael felt the weight of his actions pressing on him, but it wasn't the crushing weight of guilt or fear. It was something else, something unfamiliar. The finality of it all. The simulation had been erased, but what came after? What was left in the wake of its destruction? Dan, Kael whispered, his voice hoarse from the strain. Where do we go from here? Diane's voice, always calm, always steady, rang out in his mind. We rebuild. From the ashes. Kael nodded, though he wasn't sure what rebuilding meant in a world that no longer had a system to rely on. The rules had been shattered, and there was no template to follow. For the first time, the future seemed uncertain. The final fragment of control had been stripped away. But that wasn't the end, Kael knew. It was just the beginning. The system that had once governed everything was gone, but in its place was a new world, one where choice, freedom, and truth could finally flourish. The question was, would they be able to handle it? Kael's thoughts were interrupted as a flicker of movement caught his eye. In the distance, a figure emerged from the dust, its shape slowly materializing as it drew closer. Kael squinted, trying to make out who it was. It was a person, but not one he recognized. The figure moved with purpose, the dust and debris parting around them as they advanced. They were dressed in dark, weathered clothes, their features obscured by a hood. As the figure drew closer, Kael could feel a strange energy emanating from them, an energy that seemed both familiar and alien. Kael, the figure spoke, their voice low and resonant. You've done it. You've shattered the system. Kael's hand instinctively moved to his side, where his weapon still rested, though he knew it wouldn't be needed. The figure wasn't a threat. At least, not yet. Who are you? Kael asked, his voice cautious. The figure chuckled softly, the sound carrying an eerie weight. I am the last remnant of the system you destroyed. The last fragment, the one who held it all together. Kael's brow furrowed. You were part of the system. The figure nodded. Not by choice. But I've learned, just as you have. I understand now. The system was never meant to be. It was built on lies, on control, on manipulation. But now the figure's voice trailed off, and they stepped closer, their eyes gleaming with something Kael couldn't quite place. Now we have a chance to rebuild, but we have to do it right. We have to do it together. Kael studied the figure carefully, still unsure of their intentions. There was something about them that seemed off, something he couldn't quite understand. They were too calm, too sure of themselves. But then again, wasn't that the same way he had felt when he had first begun this journey? Confident, sure that the world could be changed. Perhaps this figure was simply another soul searching for redemption in the ruins of the past. I don't know if we can rebuild, Kael said quietly. The world is broken. The system is gone, and there's nothing left to guide us. The figure's eyes softened, though their expression remained determined. There's always something left. A seed, a spark, a beginning. And that's all we need. Kael looked out at the horizon, at the city now crumbling into the earth, the skyline broken and jagged. The storm had passed, but the destruction remained. And yet, in that destruction, Kael felt something stirring, something new. A possibility. Where do we start? Kael asked, his voice filled with a mixture of uncertainty and hope. The figure smiled, a small, knowing smile. We start by finding the pieces that remain. The fragments of the old world that survived the collapse. There's still knowledge out there, still resources. We'll find them and we'll rebuild from the ground up. Kael nodded, understanding. The rebuilding would be difficult, perhaps even impossible. But they would try. Because in the end, it wasn't about restoring what had been lost, it was about creating something new, something better. A world that had the potential to be free. And as the figure extended a hand to him, Kael hesitated for only a moment before grasping it firmly. Together they would search for the fragments of the old world, piece by piece. They would rebuild the future, from the ashes of the past. But this time they would do it differently. They would do it right.